Hey everybody, I'm in 1 Samuel chapter 28, and I want to prove to you that Saul was a saved man, and why that's important to know. Okay, before I read you verse 19, let me give you some context. Saul visits the witch of Endor, and he wants her to bring up Samuel, and you know, the witch of Endor tries, and she's like freaking out, and Samuel actually, comes up, and she says, right, I saw God's ascending out of the earth, and he said unto her, what form is he of? And she said, an old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stopped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And real quick, I just want to say, I have no doubt in my mind that you know, God did this. God brought up Samuel for Samuel to prophesy to Saul. It was not the witch of Endor. That's why she's freaking out. Okay. Remember, Saul's seeing a witch. That's, this is towards the end of his life. He's obviously not so-called enduring until the end, as the Lord Shippers would say. Right? But anyways, and Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? Remember, Samuel was dead, okay? So this is a miracle by God. And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? And remember, in the Old Testament, they didn't have the permanent indwelling of the Holy Spirit as we have now. It doesn't mean that people in the Old Testament weren't saved. They just didn't have the permanent indwelling of the Holy Spirit because Jesus Christ didn't die on the cross yet at this particular time. Right? And the Lord hath done to him as he spake by me, for the Lord hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David. Right? And this was told to Saul much earlier in the book of 1 Samuel, and he's been trying to kill David ever since, which is also pretty wicked. Because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord, nor executed his fierce wrath upon Amalek, therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, this is verse 19, moreover the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. The Lord also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. Samuel, right, who was a prophet of God. And hello, we're in 1 Samuel. This book is named after him. And there's another book called 2 Samuel. So it's pretty obvious Samuel's a saved guy, right? He prophesies of the Lord. He has 2 books of the Bible named after him. And it's pretty obvious Samuel was a saved guy, right? And what did Samuel say? And tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. Right? And Samuel was, dead when he said. So the point is, because we're almost at the end of 1 Samuel here, right? But more towards the end of it, Saul's in battle, and he commits suicide. He falls on his own sword, okay? And there's a lot of people that believe that if you commit suicide, you automatically go to hell. And, but what did Samuel tell him? And tomorrow thou and thy sons be with me. Now, only a crazy person would think that Samuel went to hell, okay? And that he burned in hell. No. So he's going to be with Samuel, that means that Saul was a saved guy. And this is really important to understand because, Saul did so many wicked things in his life that, and towards the end of his life, he never repented of any of it. It ends up where he commits suicide, which is another sin, okay? But he did not burn in hell because he was a saved man. And I'm looking forward to, meeting Saul in heaven. Well, meeting everybody in heaven, but meeting Saul in heaven and just seeing him, being friends with David. That I think that's going to be amazing to see. Saul and David being brothers and especially Saul loving on David and things like that. But that right there is proof that Saul went to heaven. That he's in heaven now. And that again, this is once saved, always saved, because what's the last thing Saul did before he died? The last thing he did was kill himself. He sinned. The last thing he did was sin. And he went to be with Samuel. And, now, they're in heaven. And, people who think you could lose your salvation, this verse messes up with their mind and their belief system. And, Saul's one of the best examples in the Bible to prove that salvation is not of works and that you cannot lose your salvation once you have it. Take care.